In 2 weeks, I take my junkyard Ferrari F430 on a racetrack to compete against a JDM car that has way more horsepower than me, that is probably more well built than mine is, and is probably more capable of actually going around a track. So to prepare as much as I possibly can, we're gonna be going through and simulating the racing conditions on my racing sim. And I'm gonna bring you guys along for that to see if we can get a pretty decent time, if we can figure out the corners, if we can figure out the track itself, because quite honestly, it is a little bit confusing and it's daunting, and this car has never made its way around a roundabout faster than 35 miles an hour, and I just wanna be ready. I wanna be as well equipped as I possibly can, because if I am gonna make a fool out of myself on Amazon, I would at least like to do it in a way that makes me feel more comfortable about who I am as a human being. So, I'm Alex, AlexMartini with 2 underscores on Instagram, and today we're talking about cars. More specifically, we're talking about racing the 430 at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway in a couple weeks, jumping on the sim rig and seeing what sort of times we can run. Last time I tried to run on the sim rig when I was streaming, it was terrible, it didn't work, so I apologize. If you're on the Discord, really enjoy all the feedback, and if you're not on the Discord, go join it right now, subscribe, and if you wanna pick up a t-shirt, you can at alexmartini.net. So for those that don't know, we're gonna be running the inner loop of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's a 1.2 mile, 9-turn road course. It's located right in Las Vegas. We're bringing the car down. It's gonna take a few days to get down there, a few days to get back. We try to keep it as cheap as possible because we're all broke. And that's just how YouTubing works until you're big and famous, which we're neither of those things. So, going through it, here's what I know. The average cornering speed for the course ranges from 90 kilometers per hour in the first left-hander to 145 kilometers per hour. Now, I had to go out and Google and do a translation because I don't know why an American racetrack would have kilometers per hour, but that's like 50-ish to 90-ish miles per hour on that first turn. The Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo can reach speeds of up to 140 miles an hour and lateral G-forces of 1.6. We're not doing either of those things. I just know that my goal around this track is to not blow up, to not rub the tires loose, and to make sure that I can maintain a consistent speed. If I can maintain a consistent speed and stay calm through the whole thing and not upset the car, I should be fine. So for those that don't know, I'm doubling down on the traction and just the comfort of the car, keeping the car planted as much as I can. And I don't want to spill too many beans about how the car is actually set up, but what I can say is that we went different with the wheel and tire setup so that it's perfectly built to just keep traction. We did not slouch on that at all. BBS, what's up, homies? And of course, Michelin tires as well. So with that being said, here's the actual track. I know a couple things about racing, enough to be dangerous and not enough to be arrogant. What I would say is there's a few tips that I need to keep in mind as I run on the actual racing sim. Number 1, braking hard and then lifting off and letting the car go through the turn and then feeling out the traction bit as much as I possibly can. Now, when we're running in February, it's going to be cold. So the really important thing is gonna be trying to get those tires up to temp during the traction, or getting the tires up to temp during the practice sessions as much as I possibly can, because if I don't get them up to temp, I'm screwed. They're actually worse off than something like a normal street tire. Number 2, I see that apparently these braking zones on this infield are very short. They're very, very small. So I have to remember that if I apply the brake really hard, I really need to set the speed as I'm going through the coasting zones, because I don't even know if you'd call it a coasting zone. It's just a zone in which you're kind of feathering and using some steering input, using some throttle input to gauge where the nose of the car is gonna be pointed. But it looks for the most part that there's like an ever revolving repetition of gas, hard brake, coast, brake, gas, hard brake, coast. There's a lot of coasting on this infield. A lot of like, I don't even wanna call it coasting because it's probably not even the right term. But here's also what I know. I know that I need to brake hard, let the car go through the turn, let the front end point to where I need to go, then use throttle steering to kind of gauge the car and push the car to the outside or inside of the track. Number 2, I know that these cars do a really good job at understeering like a mother if the car does not have the traction. So instead of trying to plow through the turns, if I start losing traction, I know I need to let off. I'd rather take a little bit of a slower intake and then power through the turn and not do anything else. The thing that I think is really gonna mess me up is if you look here, there's a chicane. The chicane has a hard brake into a right-hander, tap the gas, hard on the brake, coasting, tap the gas, off the gas, and then back on the gas. There's a lot there to remember. So I'm gonna take some notes. I'm gonna get on this sim rig and we're gonna see what we can do, because I want to test at least like 15, 20 laps get us ready to rock and roll, because by next weekend, I'm filming this, and by next weekend, I'm gonna have to know how to drive this car. I've never taken the 430 on a track. I've taken an R8 on the track, I've taken the S2K on the track, I've taken a 3000 on the track, I've taken every car besides this car on a track, and I'm scared. But I'm also competitive and I wanna win. And this is the sim rig, actually. So not everybody knows that I have this. I stream on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we race iRacing, a set of Corsa. There's my actual computer, that's the cat handle. I have a pre-built. It's nothing crazy, but it gets the job done for now. But then I run Fanatec stuff. So I got a Fanatec DD 2.5, I got Fanatec pedals, a Fanatec shifter, and the handbrake for drifting. And then I use a WRC wheel. Now, I know this isn't like the most perfect wheel for all applications. I also have just like the PS5 GT7 steering wheel, but this one actually works really, really well. I've got the Next Level Racing chassis or frame, and then I also have just like a Prisma Ultra seat, and then I just have a normal Logitech keyboard, nothing too fancy. And then I have this curved TV, which is dog shit. But it was free, and I'm happy that it was free, so I'm gonna keep using it until I get a better one. I think it's important for everybody to see that Carmel wanted to be in the video, but he can't. Mostly because he just wants to hide on my shoulder every single time I'm driving. Oh, I feel like I have to get all tucked in here. Ooh. Okay. Oh, I think I broke everything that I had set up. That's awesome. That's my favorite thing in the world. Is my speaker even on? There we go. The biggest thing that I realized is that it looks like I have to tap the gas after turn 1, after turn 4, and after turn 5. Now, unfortunately, without actually knowing what that feels like, I'm just putting a note there just to remember. I know that the turn 6 looks like a late apex of some kind, or at least it's gonna feel that way. And then turn 9 into turn 10, I really do think that I don't care too much about turn 9 being perfect. What I wanna make sure that I lock in is setting up for turn 10, because that exit speed is gonna be huge. Anytime that you have a straight on a track, you're really gonna be better off prepping to get a couple extra miles per hour out of the turn, rather than using that previous turn to nail perfectly, and then you either overshoot or undershoot the exit. So I'd rather have that set up to just be pretty much perfect than worry about turn 9 being, you know, absolutely flawless. And then smooth on the gas, brake hard. If you're not first, you're last, and don't die. Gosh, I really hope the track is like this in real life, otherwise we are screwed. All right, so this is the straightaway. Then we got that turn in. After turn 1, it says tap the gas. Oh, okay. And we're going through. Now I am using 2-foot braking. I don't know if that's gonna screw me. I don't think it will, but it might. Come to the outside here. We're gonna try and stay away from the rumble strips, because I don't know in real life how bad they actually are. If they're normal rumble strips, we should be okay, but if they're like Road America style rumble strips, I'll destroy every single piece of carbon fiber I have on the car. Tires are warming up. Oh God, oh boy. Okay. 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 God damn it. Oh no. The goal here is to get the tires warmed up. I only have 2 laps in the actual race to warm up the tires. So I want to pretend that these are those 2 laps. If I can do that, we should be good. I feel the same way. Please don't knock that picture off. Hey, what are you doing? You think this is a playground? Don't whine at me. Well, that's good. I want to start this off by saying this wasn't supposed to take 150 laps. I don't know what I was thinking by trying to just get into a 54-second time, because the morning started off and I was feeling pretty good. After I got the differences between the 430 and the Scud out of the way, I jumped right onto the track. I set the track conditions for like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I figured after a quick run around the track, I should be able to break into the 55s relatively easy. And I didn't. It took forever. I quickly realized the biggest problem with assuming that you can just run around a track is assuming that the car can do what you want it to do. Every single corner, I would try to do the thing that I told myself to do, and I would either overshoot it or undershoot it. And there is nothing more agitating than missing a corner, a single turn on a track, knowing that you messed up your entire time. So as we started to get better, we did make improvements. The improvements were decent, and really all it was that we were trying to do, or that I was trying to do, was figure out how much pressure could I put in the corners with the tires that were on the car. There were Pirellis that were in the game. We're running Michelin, so hopefully they grip up a little bit better. But for the most part, that was my only goal. And the second biggest goal that I had was figuring out this godforsaken corkscrew, slalom, chicane looking ass thing, because it kept me. It kept ruining every single time I could possibly have. I would get the entrance right, I get the exit wrong, and I just started to get more and more upset about this. I just kept crashing. I mean, every single time I hyper focused on that part of the track, I would end up messing up somewhere else, and I just kept falling over myself, oversteering. And then if I understeered, I would completely shoot through a turn and completely mess up the lap. It got to a point where I was getting so upset with actually running these times that I had to go take a break. I left, I had lunch, I sat down, I hung out with Carmel. It was a great time, but I was legitimately upset. I was trying to have a good time and laugh with you guys, but like there is a competitive edge that I have that just cannot be like taken away from me. And it was starting to come out because I had lunch, I couldn't break under the 55s, and then I got back at it and I ended up doing worse. I kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. The times, they were staying consistent at the 55.6, 55.8, which was nice, but really I had my eyes set on consistently hitting a 54 of some kind, because that would at least tell me that I can stay consistent and clean. Now, I did run like a 54.83, which is the ghost car that you see ahead of me, but you can see it right before the last two turns that I went off the track and somehow still managed to get the best lap time. And so I wanted to hit a 54 without that. I wanted to hit a 54 with a clean line. It took over 130 runs to figure this out, and I finally found the time. The number one time drain, 100%, was in that chicane. The number two biggest time dump that I wasted was right after the chicane and finding the braking point while keeping my speed as high as humanly possible. So what I ended up doing is in the chicane on the final lap when I was running around, I lost most of my hair. I ended up braking later on the right-hand side of the track, turning hard into the left, just touching the tires to the first turn-in point, and then trying to keep the car as straight as possible until I needed to turn in for that final point. I wound out to the left-hand side, and then from there, it was just a matter of not messing up the rest of the track. I ended up tapping it, kept it right about 6,000 RPM in third gear for that left-hander, that slight left-hander that comes through, keeping the traction to the rear, and then did nothing more than just try to survive through. I didn't shift down into second for the last turn until I was through the first corner, so that kind of dipped the front end nose of the Ferrari down, turned it in, got through the straightaway, and ended up hitting a 54.7 something, which is awesome. And I'm happy. Can you tell? Let's go! Yes! Got it! Yes! Woo! 54.37. Let's go! That's what I was aiming for. That's a new lap record. Oh, we got it. We got it. It was clean. It was good. The hardest thing honestly, like to God, was getting out of this half pipe right here, coming through into third, dropping down, late braking to stay on the right side here, but this f***ing chicane was just killing me. If you tap that side though, and you tap this side, you come out just quick enough to stay on it. And then I just let up a little bit right here, got through this, hung on to it as long as I could, tried to stay on the track to keep it clean, kept it in third out through here, then touched second when I was coming through the last side just to get that ass back down, and we got it through. I am so happy about that. You have no idea. That is awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. We started the day at a 56 seconds, 56 and a half seconds, and we ended at a 54.3, which is everything I wanted. That makes me so happy. So thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed. And if you guys didn't know, please watch the episodes coming up in the next couple weeks. If you want to watch the stream where I do this all the time, Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for watching. I'm Alex, AlexMartini with 2 underscores, and we will see you later. Adios, goodbye.